A coachload of heroes had a hero's welcome, and how they deserved it. Everton brought the cup back to Merseyside, where it had been in Liverpool's keeping for a year.
Brian Labone didn't play for applause, he didn't shout for attention, and he never once asked you to remember him. But those who watched him week after week, season after season, never forgot. He didn't dive into tackles for the cameras. He didn't raise his arms when the crowd roared. He didn't lunge forward when others backed out. He just stood there, at the back, holding everything together. You could trust him with a lead, you could trust him with a crisis, you could trust him with the whole club. He played the same way through glory and collapse, same shirt, same voice, same quiet level of control. One Evertonian is worth 20 Liverpudlians. He didn't say it to provoke, he said it because it was the truth he lived by. You didn't see him in the headlines, you saw him in the moments that mattered. The clearing header when things were breaking, the calm pass when others lost shape, the silent presence that made noise unnecessary. And when it was over, he didn't chase attention. He just walked away like he'd always done. Subscribe because men like Brian Labone didn't ask for legacy. Brian Leslie Labone, born 23rd January 1940, Liverpool. He could have gone to university. He was bright, measured, but football spoke louder. He joined Everton as an amateur in 1956, turned professional a year later. Still just 17, debuted on 29th of March 1958 against Birmingham City. He was 18, never looked like a boy again, left-footed centre-half, didn't lunge, didn't bark. He positioned himself like a man playing chess, and everyone else was still kicking stones. By 1962-63, he was a starter every week. Everton won the First Division title. Labone played his part. No shouting, no glory hunting. He was the best centre-half I ever played with, bar none. Alan Ball. Not flashy, not fast, but he made forwards stop believing. That was enough. By 1964, Brian Labone was Everton's quiet spine, a first-choice defender. The kind who didn't dive in, he waited, and the game broke before he did. That season, he was ever present. 42 league appearances, not one red card, not even a booking. He played clean, but never soft. England noticed. He earned his first senior cap in 1962 and became a regular in the national setup by the mid-60s. Then came 1966. Alf Ramsey wanted him in the squad. But Labone turned it down. "I'm not going to be a reserve. Everton need me." Brian Labone. It wasn't arrogance, it was duty. While others dreamed of lifting the Jules Rimet, Labone stayed in blue, played 39 league games that season, and never complained. When England lifted the World Cup, he clapped, smiled, then turned back to training. No bitterness, no what-ifs, because when your loyalty is real, you don't flinch even when history calls your name. He only ever scored once a rare header against Manchester United in December 1968. One goal, and he never chased another. He never chased England. But in 1970, they called again. This time, Brian Labone said yes. At 30 years old, he started all 4 of England's matches at the 1970 World Cup in Mexico. He earned 26 caps for England. Quiet ones, but real ones. No bookings, no headlines, just composure in 40-degree heat against the world's best. Pelé once called him one of the fairest and strongest defenders I ever played against. Labone didn't need to tackle hard, he tackled smart, and always with respect. Back home, he captained Everton. No armband theatrics, no team talks in tunnels, he just led by playing like nothing else mattered. In 1969-70, he helped Everton win the First Division title again. He had already lifted the FA Cup in 1966, fell just short in the 68 final, and twice raised the Charity Shield in 63 and 70. He played 32 league games that season, nearly perfect, but the knocks were building. His knees weren't what they were. Still, he kept showing up. Because that's what real captains do. They don't protect themselves, they protect the standard. In July 1971, at just 31 years old, Brian Labone retired. The Achilles wouldn't hold, not after 15 years of carrying everything. There was no testimonial, no lap of honor, no microphone moment, just a quiet announcement, and the sound of something irreplaceable stepping away. He left behind 534 appearances for Everton, 451 in the league, 1 goal, and no regrets. Only booked twice. Not once had he been sent off. Not once had he asked for a move. Not once had he broken the faith of the fans. He retired as he played, with dignity, with silence, and with no need for applause. Other names would chase the spotlight. Labone walked out the back door and still left the biggest space behind. When the boots came off, Brian Labone didn't drift into obscurity. He stayed where his heart had always been, Everton. He served as a club ambassador, showed up for charity events, hosted matchday guests, welcomed fans like they were family. He was never loud, never tried to be the legend in the room. But when Labone walked the corridors of Goodison, people stood straighter, because they knew he wasn't there for attention. He was there because he never left. He watched generations come and go. Shirts changed, styles changed, but Labone stayed the same, calm, measured, present. He wasn't clinging to legacy, he was legacy. He represented everything Everton should be, club staff would quietly say. No books, no scandals, no bitterness. Just one man who wore the badge once and never took it off again. On 24th April 2006, Brian Labone collapsed near his home in Maghull. He died that night of a heart attack. He was 66. The news didn't break the internet, it didn't lead the papers. But across Merseyside, the silence was louder than any tribute. Outside Goodison Park, fans came with scarves, with letters, with flowers left on the iron gates. They didn't bring noise, they brought memory. One Evertonian is worth 20 Liverpudlians. The quote he once gave in jest was now spoken like scripture. No national ceremony, just tears from those who knew what they'd lost. The club held a tribute before the next home game. The fans stood, they didn't sing, they just stood. Because some men don't need a song. They already gave you everything they had. There's no bronze of Brian Labone outside Goodison, no mural, no stand named in his honor. But say his name and watch how the old fans straighten their backs. To them, Labone was never about banners or chants. He was about standard. Loyalty wasn't something he talked about. He just lived it. 15 seasons. One club. Never dropped, never tempted, never loud. He didn't score many, didn't smile for cameras, didn't ask for memory. But memory found him anyway. Brian was the soul of Everton. If you watched him once, you never forgot him, said one lifelong fan. In a game now driven by image, he reminds you what it meant to simply show up every Saturday with your word intact and your badge on your chest. Some call him the last of his kind. Others say he never left. Because when a man becomes part of the ground beneath you, you don't need to see his face to feel where he stood. There's no statue, but a section of Goodison Park now bears his name. Quietly, permanently. Brian Labone never needed to explain who he was. He just showed up, did the job, and let the silence speak for him. One club, over 500 games, no ego, no spin, just steel in his back and honor in his boots. He turned down the World Cup because Everton came first. He retired with no testimonial because he never played for applause. He didn't wear the armband to be seen. He wore it because no one else could carry it the same. And when he left, the space quieter than it had ever been. In a game now built on noise, Labone is a name whispered with pride. Because not all greats chase legacy. Some just live it. Subscribe if you still believe men like Brian Labone built this game and never asked for thanks.